Hello Guardians! Destiny 2 needs saving, and I'm going to be an armchair developer and tell you how exactly I would save it. This is just my opinion. If you don't agree, tough knuckles, tough titties, I do not care. Today I want to walk you through how I would save Destiny 2 from weapons to subclasses and even some overall sandbox changes. This isn't just a list of buffs and nerfs. Every change I suggest has clear reasoning behind it, aiming to make PvP more skillful, fun, and consistent. Let's dive in. Hand cannons. They are iconic and should be what the entire sandbox is based around, in my opinion, as a bow glaive main as of late. The game plays better when 140s dominate. They are the benchmark. They are the standard. 120 RPM hand cannons keep the current range but add severe damage falloff after 40 meters, thus preventing 3 taps beyond 44 meters and beyond. This will keep them effective at medium range. We're also going to reduce their RPM to 110. This keeps them strong for team fights but prevents players from dominating open spaces too easily and gives breathing room to pulses, scouts, and bows. Before you get your panties in a bunch, I will be addressing pulses. They are too strong. Burst hand cannons, tighter grouping, better handling and stability, more accurate while strafing. 180 RPM hand cannons, increase the strafe speed, the AE even further, base range by 1.5 meters. This rewards mobility, map positioning without being oppressive. Remove precision instrument from the archetype. You should not have that level of lethality with that level of ease of use. Exotics. First and foremost, Hawk Moon will be craftable and lightweight. Sunshine will be reworked. It will have a smoother recoil, still be the only 150. Kills will create sunspots. Dying in a sunspot will spread explosions to trigger more sunspots and spread Scorch. Eye of the Storm will be added to the base catalyst. Auto rifles. The changes to them are going to be quite simple. They lose the peak fire and they don't have the range except for one of them that's a little out of band. 360s. We're going to reduce the range slightly. This prevents dominance at long distance. They already have an easy way to reduce their TTK and great way to chain kills. 720 RPMs. We're going to do something different with them. We're going to slightly increase their range. And for the support frame, we're going to increase the speed of their projectile. That way they duel a little bit better. Minor flinch adjustments overall for the auto rifles. And that's it. This is for the landing Larrys. I don't mind if you're in the back of the map, but you should not have the lethality that you do have. 180 scouts are losing box breathing. 260 scouts are losing precision instrument. It is fine to be in the back of the map, be the anchor for your team. It's an important role, but you also shouldn't have the lethality of some of the fastest TTKs in the game at 70 and up meters. That's ridiculous. The scouts that I do like are the 120 scouts. The problem with them is their hip fire is buns, so we're going to buff that. They're going to have similar hip fire to that of DMT. Now you're thinking to yourself, I'm sure, what's the point of DMT then? DMT will be getting its old damage perks with Granial Spike on top of an increased RPM. And if you have 3 stacks, you'll have 7 seconds before you lose those 3 stacks. Pulse rifles. Lightweights are mostly fine, but we're going to make it so they require 1 more crit than they currently do. And we're going to hit their damage fall off slightly. The high impacts, I think, are what I like to see in a pulse rifle. You need to be in the exact range and the exact all crits to hit a fast TTK. To me, that keeps the skill relevant. Aggressive frames, we're going to make a tighter grouping, better base handling. Adaptives, we're going to make it so it can't 2-burst with the easiest of damage perks. That's a bit silly. And rapid fires are mostly going to be untouched. I'm just going to be touching High Tyrant with the delicate tuning and make it 15 range instead of 20. Roller sidearms are low-key busted. This is coming from a controller player himself, so you know it's true because you heard it on the internet. We are going to be hitting their base aim assist. We're going to make it so they have severe damage fall off, and we're going to make it so some more archetypes require just 1 more crit. And we're going to reduce the body shot damage, so you have to be a little bit more accurate with them. SMGs, my pride and joy. I mean, I put 80k in Shiras, so some of you are probably going to be unsurprised for the buff I'm doing to this archetype. 600s are going to have the most range because they have the slowest base TTK. 720s are going to have better flinch resistance. And target lock for all SMGs will be forgiveness only. Doesn't reduce to decay without also the weapon stat investment. Now it's time for my slinging arrow freaks. Lightweights will get a massive range and accuracy bump. Layman Arc will not get this buff. Precisions will no longer need both arrows to be perfect draw to get a head body shot kill. If you hit 2 perfect arrow headshots, it will do slightly more damage, to the point that it will even kill a Ferropotent build in 2 headshots. Finally, we will add more hipfire accuracy for controller players. Bunch of great buffs. Now here's the nerf. Archer's Gambit will get a 10% reduced fire rate. The perk is strong. Almost too strong in my opinion. If a special weapon requires more than 1 shot for a kill, its special ammo meter will go up quicker. Bonus exotic weapons. I would make Malfeasance have increased range and give it Adagio. First curse would be reintroduced. An exotic and healing auto that is capable of granting buffs to teammates overshields amplified woven mail after a kill. Either buff the teammate or turn projectiles into hit scan for a short period. Encourages team synergy. We will now talk about global subclass changes, then specific subclass changes. For non-prismatic classes, you will have a 15% increased cooldown. Less ability uptime encourages more strategic play. We will be removing Overshield on low health, the Fragment from Void, and replace it with larger special meter gain. And for prismatic classes, global cooldown reduction by 5% and super cooldown reduction by 10%. Reasoning is prismatic feels less responsive and less fast overall except for certain combos, and non-prismatic classes have way more uptime, and I think this will help balance the sandbox as a whole. Void Hunter, you silly smoky people, but guess what? You're not the biggest problem in the sandbox right now, even though it looks like it. There's just more hunters than everybody else, but you will need at least 10% melee energy to be able to turn invisible. On the Prowl will get reworked. It will work exactly as it currently does, except the smokes you make on subsequent kills from marking them will no longer disorient or damage enemies. It will just give you special meter, the ability energy, and turn you invisible. Invisibility will also be more visible on some maps. 6 shooter, Solar. We are going to be reducing the super gain, but knock him down, the intrinsic that buffs all supers will just be intrinsic to the class. Blade Barrage will also get an additional knife. On your mark, precision hits will give reload handling for allies, and will also give special ammo generation. For PvP and PvE, it'll be both special and heavy. Strand Hunter, the Wallace subclass. We will add a one and done AoE field super that does suspend and damage over time. And Whirling Maelstrom will get 1 more additional fragment slot. Stasis Hunter will get Shatter Dive, and Harvest will be 3 fragment aspects. Withering Blade, improved tracking, minus 10 damage, an additional charge. Titans, Solar Titans specifically. You know how Loralee ruined sunspots? Well, no longer. Loralee will be the same, but we are reverting all nerfs to sunspots. On top of that, Throwing Hammer will have better tracking, reduced base damage, and it will get a new aspect that as you use abilities, your stats, including handling, strafe, all of that will get increased. And on top of that, we are adding Blink to Solar Titan. About time the 3rd class gets Blink, and it's about time to hear some Hunters and Warlocks mauled. Arc. As a Titan main, I think Knockout is one of the most annoying things to deal with in the game, and one of the biggest problems in the game. It cannot have the increased lunge while also having healing, so we're going to reduce the healing and instead give it chunks of 50 to 75 depending on what's too weak, and it will behave as normal in PvE. Bubble will get buffed and be as strong as it was before, but I have a way to prevent it from being annoying in trials. That will be spoken about later. Behemoth, make it so when Shiver Strike hits anything that's not a enemy, that it gets the 70% refund. The 70% refund should be for anything that is not Howl the Storm, because it gets 2, I understand that, but if you only have 1, you should retain the 70%. Void Warlock. Right now you guys are cooking and cooking hot, and probably the biggest problem in the Sandbox, or close second. We're going to be removing the second grenade charge that you get from the aspect that buffs all your grenades, and instead that's going to go to Feed the Void. You need to be able to choose between the two. You shouldn't get a buffed grenade and two of them. Additionally, you're not going to spawn in with both melees. You need to charge the second melee. Reduce the range by 5 meters. Shadow of the Old Gods will also do 1 more tick of damage, have 10 more health, but give 6% less ability return. Solar Warlock will get the second Icarus dash, but get reduced effectiveness with Scouts mid-air. Arc has nothing going for it in PvP that Prismatic doesn't already do, but better. So we are going to give Lightning Surge 2 charges on Arc Warlock only, and every time you cast a Rift, you will become amplified. Weave Walk, Strand Warlock, reduce damage from 90% to 60%. You can no longer slide while in Weave Walk, and your sprint speed is reduced. The helmet will give fewer bugs spawned, a cooldown increase to both your melee and your class ability, and for strand subclasses specifically, Thread of Mind will give grenade energy, not class ability energy. That will stop some of the looping. Now for general Sandbox changes. I think you should be able to equip any primary with any special. That will create more creative loadouts and will create way more builds for PvE and PvP players alike. You should be able to equip 3 aspects, but that means you can only have 3 fragment slots, trading flexibility for build depth. Comp should always reward past comp weapons or pinnacle weapons on wins and have a chance on loss. On weapons like Rose and Redrix, and they should drop it at tier 5. Also, in Trials, bring back tier 5 Iggy with Adagio. I know you don't want to, Bungie, but do it. Bring back farming your flawlesses in Trials. Give people a reason to play, and higher win streaks to get more weapon drops. Server overhaul. Better tick rate, more consistent gameplay that will reduce the problem with melee lunge problems, but also reduce melee lunge. Drop old gen. Special ammo. PvP spawns with 1 kill's worth in comp or trials every time you die if you have no ammo. No more snowballs. Now for that change when it comes to bubbles and wells. I think zones should be a suppression field. You can't put clones, walls, bubbles to win a zone, round, or game for free. And what they should have had from the beginning is stop this class matchmaking. Make it so you can't run more than 2 of the same subclass per team. Ideally only 1. This reduces oppressive stacking. 1 bubble wasn't the problem. It was 3 bubbles. 3 decoys were the problem. Anytime there's 3 of something, it is oppressive. Now you make that 6 of something in control, oh my gosh. Speaking of control, remove skill-based matchmaking, make it a fun party mode. Again, please and thank you. Maps. We should be getting a new one every 6 months. We've had Europa in the game for how long, and we don't have a beautiful Europa map? We have the Star Wars DLC, we don't have a Cantina map? There's so many fresh environments and map control variety we could have, but we simply don't do it. PvP kept this game alive in the first one and has kept it alive during every drought in the game. Is PvE the pinnacle of this game? Yes, but give some respect to the PvP players too. Also, one last change. Anything that's supposed to hit a player and it doesn't because of the poor netcode or bugging out, like Cold Snap's making the freeze but not actually freezing, Diamond Lance is hitting but not actually Diamond Lancing, if it has an ability cooldown, you get a third of that ability back if the game doesn't work properly. I'm sure I said some stuff some of you agree with, and I'm sure I've said some stuff some of you disagree with. Please let me know what you disagree with. Keep the conversations cordial. I would love to hear what you guys think down below, and if you think I'm an idiot, let me know. Quack, quack, mother duckers. Peace. Don't be wrong. Join the pond. Quack, quack, mother duckers.